Hey guys, Chaps here. Today I wanted to show some clips from TC's latest dev stream. I'll highlight some news you may have missed, and I'll provide some of my thoughts on some of the topics. So, here we go.
We also dropped a new controller scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, I can actually bring it up in here. So yeah, here you go. So the new control scheme is called Shooter, if you haven't already seen it. Shooter is something we're trying to do in terms of delivering a control scheme that's a little bit closer to what you experience in other shooter games today, but still retains that Gears feel, like not go full Judgment with it, so to speak, and try and find a middle ground, and also try something that gives you more control. So it actually splits roadie, evade, and cover actions into 3 different buttons, so you can make sure you never misroll when you're actually going for cover, stuff like that. But also, and this is one of the big things, is that by having, it's kind of like shooting and like attacking actions on the right and then kind of movement actions on the left, other than the evade. So it has kind of a bit more of a like clear synergy between what each hand should be doing, and they kind of like less crossover. Gears traditionally throughout its history has used press on release. So basically, when I press the A button down, it's only when I let go of the A button that I roll, or I slide, right? Or that, you know, because of that also, it's also going to allow a little bit more time to check if I'm holding A and I want to roadie. What this does is it's on press. So basically, as soon as the button is depressed, it's going to like give that little bit of extra time to check if I'm roadieing. But if I just tap it, it's going to know immediately, like on the press, that I want to slide, and it's not going to kind of have that extended wait that you have with the other schemes, where, you know, it's waiting for you to release it, otherwise it's assuming you want to roadie. So it's going to feel a lot more responsive for people that prefer that.
So the new controller scheme seems nice in some aspects, like separating out the roll command and making things more responsive. I still want to know why they can't implement a scheme that separates roll but then keeps cover and run on the same button. It would improve responsiveness over like the default control scheme, but then it would also keep things more familiar, because this new one completely changes everything and would be really hard to learn. Better yet though, let's just allow controllers to have fully remappable actions like keyboard and mouse do.
Ranked. So rank's a hard one, only because where we are is we recognize that the current rank system has its issues. How do we go and build a rank system that somebody can pick up and play and understand why I'm going up and why I'm going down? And we don't want to make the rank system... So I know that we're getting accusations of the game is being made easy and so on and so forth. And I don't want people to think that this is something that has anything to do with that. This is very much about people being able to sit down and go into a match and be like, I know if I do X, I'm going to go up. And if I know that if I don't, then I'm going to go down. So the new ranking system is being worked on. And we're going to go into a lot more details once we reveal. But I just wanted to let people like understand kind of what was that framework of which we were moving from to what we're moving towards. Yeah. I think people are like, why is this taking so long? And can you just fix it? And blah, blah, blah. Once we sort of made the commitment to updating rank, and really that decision was made, it was late February. That was when we talked a little bit about us deprioritizing tiles and going to start making more maps.
You know, the system itself is at least from a data standpoint, is actually very accurate in terms of its matching. What we didn't know is that this experience just wouldn't be good enough. And the thing is that the reason it's taking so long isn't so much because of, it's like, oh, we've been kind of slow off the mark. It's that we tried to improve the system as it was, and we've taken a decision to completely overhaul it. This is a real kind of go back to the drawing board. There's going to be elements of it that I'm sure will be leveraged, but it's a more extensive project because we are literally going, we hear you to the point where we're not going to try and iterate, we're going to try and like reapproach.
I really want to applaud TC for this one. Not many studios would admit a mistake like this and go through the process of scrapping something to make a new, better version. So yeah, this will take a while, but hopefully it will be worth it.
I actually saw a post from Chaps today being like, you know, it's crazy that the Coalition's production planning didn't account for more maps. And the thing was that, like, when we went into Gears 5, we have like a huge suite of PvE modes, and tiles were going to be a big part of versus as well as PvE. As you remember, we talked about. Sorry, I should really focus on playing, but if you remember what we talked about, even before release, we were saying there was going to be a versus map builder, and it's one of those things where like post-launch, like we just listened, and instead of just going, well, we've decided to invest in this path. This is what we're doing. This is what you're going to take. We're going to do the versus map builder, and we'll have more tile-based maps and stuff. The team know that that's not what you wanted, and we've learnt from it, and that's why this change is coming post-launch, is that instead of, again, just sticking to our guns and going, well, this is the plan we made pre-launch, we're adapting and we're trying to make sure that we get things right. So,
and I get it. They messed up, and it will take time for new changes to show. Good on them for changing. But my question is more on the side of, why did they even need to shift? If you had asked any Gears fan pre-launch if 8 maps was acceptable, or if 2 DLC maps within the first 7 months was okay, I think you'd get a pretty resounding no.
Hey, we need more maps. That's something that we've heard loud and clear from you guys.
No way, really?
The team has reprioritized work around the maps.
Again, how did it even get this way to begin with?
We haven't done the PvE stream yet. We have some stuff coming that we're going to talk about when we're going to bring on that, because we want to give some context of what it's going to be. So hopefully we'll be able to do the PvE stream in the next week or two. That's kind of where we're aiming from that.
Michael Shannon kind of recently showed me a bunch of the PvE kind of changes, like change list, I guess, like the balancing and tuning changes we're going to do coming up. And they're really interesting.
Oh, that's cool. I know a lot of people have wanted some changes to PvE.
Like, I think... we did a huge one at the start of the operation, and he's hard at work about what could come next on those tuning changes. And it's again, like I feel like a lot of people felt like we went forward with our changes in Op 3, and there's even more good stuff to come.
Yeah, good stuff came with Op 3, but I think it was a little less than what people expected. Hopefully this new one is a bit more significant.
Are TC considering forced crossplay once Series X launches due to being the equivalent of PC? It isn't. It's not something that we are looking at, but also haven't discussed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care about this.
TCA stuff, guys. I know I'm seeing some TCA comments. I wish the TCA something was, but because of all the big overhaul work that we're doing right now, the TCA is just something that I wish I could say is something that is high on the list, but it just keeps getting pushed down.
Dude, TCA is a joke. It was forgotten about right after it launched. It was revived and then forgotten about straight away again. Overall, it really just needs to die. It's also funny how many of the partners don't even make Gears content anymore. The whole thing's just a joke.
8 shots again, please tell me it's going to happen. Jamie's like considering that and about like how it can sit in its place in the lineup if it had 8 shots, and if that's something that we could do. So we're definitely not close to it. It's just there is no real decision around it right now is all.
Personally, I'm fine with 6. I wouldn't mind 8, but this isn't something I'm too worried about. I know a lot of you are probably happy about this potential change though.
Any thoughts of adding the customization stuff from Tactics to the main games? I don't see us being able to add into Gears 5 right now, but for future Gears games, who knows?
If you did a system like that, like you look at the Gears Tactics system, right? It's pretty much all kind of custom characters. But what if you want to play as Ram? If you want to play as Sam Byrne or something like that, right? Like, there's all these questions about like, there's people who want to play as the characters they love, and then there's people who want to customize those characters that they love. Some people want them as is, and then some people want just their own gear. So there's a lot of questions around it too about like what that experience would look like. So even just as a design idea, there's a lot there that if we went into it, it would be a very interesting thing to have to solve.
This is something that has been requested for years now, and it's really sad that it didn't make it into Gears 5. I don't like the argument of, well, if we do this, how do we have the story characters? Sure, have a few generic soldiers if you want people to be able to make their own custom guy, but I'd want to see the same on the main ones. Let's use Marcus as an example. Let us customize his head, different bandanas, young Marcus, old Marcus, things like that. Change around his armor, change his knife, change small details. There's things that you can do that are still character specific. It's something I know we've discussed in videos during the Gears 4 timeframe. The concept doesn't really seem that complicated.
Seeing lots of stuff about the typical aim assist, turn aim assist off in ranked. Right now, there isn't any intent to make any changes to that. That being said, you never know.
And again, a topic I don't really care about. but I know many of you probably wanted some news on this one.
Any chance on Black Steel making a comeback? No.
Nope. I mean, they stated that many times by now.
I saw a lot of understandably frustrated comments earlier about, like, it's been 7 months, stop with the excuses. I mean, the simple fact is this. We know it's been 7 months. We know that the game, as it came out, in some areas wasn't what you guys expected as a Gears game. That feedback has been raised up, and that feedback has been heard. A lot of what was discussed at that summit previously that we just referred to was taking into consideration a lot of this feedback, and a lot of the decisions that have been made that you're going to see in the coming months are going to be as a result of us trying to address a lot of the feedback that you guys put forward.
And this really seems like an issue. Why is this feedback getting raised post-launch? Does the studio not have an understanding of Gears fans? I feel like in many cases there's a big disconnect. Yeah, we're glad things are changing now, but we're also just really disappointed that this studio even let things get to this point.
Deluxe was asking about Map Builder. It's still on the list. It's deprioritized a little bit right now as we're focusing on a lot of the other areas.
Ouch, that sucks. I kinda hoped we'd see it in Op 4, but that's not looking likely, I guess. Whenever it comes, I feel it's probably gonna be too little too late.
For FFA, of how do we go and make FFA expanded out, and is it moving that to the 5v5 maps or whatever it is? That is something that we've had a lot of conversations around.
This one blows my mind. I can't believe they decided to split their efforts to make free-for-all maps different than traditional maps. I thought this was a big learning from Judgment. You need to keep the modes on the same maps. Again, it just seems like the Coalition has a fundamental disconnect from what fans want.
I have a question for chat. From multiplayer balance, like talking about weapon tuning or movement, what would you say is the thing you think we should be looking at the most?
See, I feel like, and that's why Jamie was talking about, I feel like if we took the active off of the Lancer, it would actually make the Lancer a lot, like, it would put it into a spot that feels good.
Some people have asked for the removal of active damage for years now. I'd really be curious to see how it plays out. I'm not that big on the balance stuff. It doesn't really bother me, so I'm not going to comment too much here. On the other hand, if you really care about balance, just go ahead and tweet the Coalition. Tweet Dana, tweet Octus, let them know your thoughts.
Someone's asking if we're going to return the classic Homeland health. There's no plans to put development time into that as it stands.
Nah, maybe in Gear 6. The new one doesn't really bother me, though. I say just move on and forget about it.
About the Terminator and the Rev 9, there actually is a proposal right now. So because they're owned by, we have to get approvals to change the character design.
Yeah, we can't just be like, oh, they're Gears, so they're ours.
So, but there is a proposal that's going forward that's going to see them in a way that will help them stand out on the battlefield more.
Yeah,
so
I saw it, and I think if it gets
looks great.
approved,
It looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
it looks really,
it's going to make a big difference.
Oh, thank God.
Will you be able to get old Tour of Duty items in the future? I don't know. There's discussion in the studio about that. I think right now we're at a point where we want those Tour of Duty items to feel like you were there. And I don't ever see a scenario by which we would be like, oh, here's the blood red speaker. Somebody can go and get him again, because that was meant to be a sort of I was there and I did the work moment. If there's something else that we could find a way that felt satisfying, that didn't feel exploitative, then maybe we would look at that. But right now we're not sure. I don't know. What would you guys think? Would you guys like us to bring back previous tour content?
What an interesting topic. Maybe I should make a video about that.
We could find a way to make it compelling. Then maybe we'd look at that. So I'm not sure. We're gonna see. So we don't know. But that is something that we're talking about. So, I mean, these are these conversations that we're having that we never want to, and a lot of the reasons why we're holding this close to the vest is partially because we don't want to just drip feed out content. At the same time, we don't want, until decisions are made and work is being done, we don't want to say something and then it be like, we're not doing it now, or what have you. So, but we're trying to increase the transparency, so it is a balance.
That's the whole thing about transparency. Get the discussion out there early with the understanding that it will change. TC has made tons of changes that fans disagree with. If the ideas had been floated out there first, some feedback could be given, and things may have turned out differently. TC needs to stop being afraid to float ideas out there and gather feedback.
Are we ever closer to the roadmap, Dana? I have hopes to give an update on that very soon. There's discussion about what would be in that roadmap that we're trying to kind of nail down right now.
Again, transparency is key. I really hope that they discuss both what they plan on doing as well as things that they're still debating internally.
Yeah, we are. We do have an open position on our team, though, Dana. So
yeah, we are. We do. Yeah.
If you do have
anybody that wants to come work with me and Liam, I am looking for a community manager. So if you are able to work in Canada or feel like you're qualified for the job, apply, because I definitely would love to have someone that has more Gears knowledge, because Liam is really dropping the ball with his Gears knowledge lately.
For the love of God, please hire someone with Gears knowledge. As I said before, I feel there's such a big disconnect in most of the conversation.
I'm going to fire this under a potential that we're looking at the best way we could do it and timing for that to happen. But that would be doing a developer playlist where we could go and work out certain, whether it's movements or modes, or things like that. So that is something that the team is talking about. So I'll give you guys a little bit of that's kind of something that we are in the process. Don't quote me, don't ask me on a timeline for it, a time frame for it, because it's very early days, but it is something that we're talking about. So there we go.
Nice. We had this in Gears 3. Hopefully this comes to fruition.
They're also looking at the re-ups right now, which might actually be a bigger priority. If you don't already know, we're looking at readjusting the re-up curve. Right now, it was kind of designed in this way that was like to give it longevity, like Gears 4, like the ones that we added beyond 20. But beyond 20, the XP rates are just not fun, and we're going to go look at this doesn't mean it's going to be limited to beyond 20, but we're going to go look at the re-up XP curve and try and make it a lot more enjoyable and a lot funner. We don't have the same problem with the re-ups that we did with the credit bonus requirement we had to kind of keep in mind for Gears 4, so... we're just trying to we're trying to go fix that and make the re-ups a lot more enjoyable, and part of that is going and redoing the rewards. Whether they come together, who knows, but that's what the team's working towards.
Yeah, re-up rewards certainly need an overhaul. I think the re-up XP requirement should basically be a linear progression rather than exponential. It would make things much simpler for them.
Why are achievement unlocks non-existent since Gears 3?
Again, I wish someone had made a video about that, right?
I don't understand.
Dana doesn't understand? Again, there's a disconnect.
Oh, like having...
Went to meet shield him.
Unlocks inside of the... or...
Well, because the game itself serves them now, right?
Yeah.
The game serves them already? Well, sort of, but not really. Where's the skill-based unlocks?
Can you bring back War Journal?
I'll be honest about that one.
I just like the way that he said that. Oh wait, I'll be honest this time.
So, stats take a ton of UI work. And in scoping Gears 5, especially with all the new modes and everything this game has, especially in terms of PvE, like Escape itself was a huge UI requirement. The team just realized that we couldn't do everything. We looked at the stats, and the team kind of decided that stats could take a hit in game, and that they would hopefully be able to be supported in more depth on the web, which is why the web has that kind of social stat sharing thing. The web team also, however, were then tasked with doing the tactics site and the esports site. And the new Gears 5 site in time for release of Gears 5 as well. So they've been working pretty flat out on a lot of projects, which is why the stats didn't end up being as deep on the web as well. So it's just a case of prioritization, right? Like, you can't necessarily do everything you want to do in the way you want to do it. So the point Dana's saying about unlikely is that there was a reason, and the scope on doing a war journal that was quite extensive in-game is quite a lot of work.
But yeah, that's pretty unfortunate.
Next week, juicy or low expectations? The only thing I'm going to say is, like, I'm going to say I think you'll be happy and you'll find it cool. It is not the new ranking system.
What do you guys think this is going to be? I'm guessing Anthony and Benjamin Carmine, but I don't know.
Are we ever going to get ranked execution back? So when we put it back into Gears 5, it was very popular. And then over time, it became one of our least played playlists.
Meh, Gridiron's better anyways. Well, thanks to anyone who's watched this far. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Hit that like and subscribe button if you think we've earned it. I'll catch you all next time, and thanks for watching.